Well, folks, for the second season in a row, we faced Manchester United at home in the fourth round of the FA Cup. It did take us 2 games to get past Conference Southside Chippenham, though, in the previous round. So I suggest we might not do as well as our 4-1 defeat that we suffered last season. Hello and welcome to part 124 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the aforementioned home match against Manchester United in the FA Cup fourth round, and then we're away against Norwich in the Championship. Since you were last with me, things have been going pretty well again. We had this one pesky defeat at home against top of the table Huddersfield, who, incidentally, no longer top of the table, but they were too good for us that day. Ali Afsharian then came into the team and started scoring goals for fun, and has pretty much single-handedly led us through the month of January into some decent form, which now finds us third place in the Championship, 2 points behind Huddersfield with a game in hand on them, and only 3 points off of top of the table Leeds with, 18 games to go? We're not talking about the league right now, though, because now it is all about the FA Cup, and this is the team that we're putting out there in said FA Cup. We're going for Hugo in goal, obviously, because he's any good. And in fact, the reason we had to go to a replay against Chippenham was because Sam Griffiths came in and conceded 2 absolute howlers in the first match to lead us to a 2-2 draw. We then got a back four of Sheridan, Sawyer, Taggart and King, with Barron, Hayes and Anderson in midfield, and then James Ball in behind Ruggles and Stainsby. I do feel a little bit harsh leaving Afsharian on the bench, but we've just had one of those heart-to-heart chats with Ollie Stainsby. Where is it? It's the fourth one, isn't it? And I've promised him he's going to get more first-team football. As much as I would like to just put my absolute strongest team out against Manchester United, I do have to think in terms of we're trying to get promoted from the Championship, so we kind of want to use Afsharian as much as we can in the Championship while he's in good form, whilst at the same time keeping our promise to Ollie Stainsby, whose star ratings wise is still the second best striker at the club behind Ruggles, so we do need to keep him on side, so he does need a run of games. And today it is Afsharian who misses out, because we'll use him in the league a bit. Probably. I don't know what the best thing to do is. We've got to keep Stainsby happy, but Afsharian's in brilliant form. I don't see how Stainsby and Afsharian can play together, because they're basically the same player. They're both advanced forwards. And then we've got Ruggles and Wheatley and Hull all there as our potential target men. So we kind of need to have one of Stainsby and Afsharian with one of the other 3. Notice Dan Fisher's not mentioned anywhere in there. Although he did get a goal against Chippenham, which I think is his only goal of the season. And again, cup games don't count towards his all-time record goal-scoring thing. A few people said in the comments last time I said that they do count. They count towards your overall goals for the club, but the actual record is all-time leading league goal-scorer. So FA Cup goals don't count towards that. And he's not scored in the league all season, I don't think. So that's why there's no point in even including him today, even though he had his heroics against Newcastle last year in the third round, when I think he got a couple of goals, if I remember rightly. So I'm hoping Man United have decided to put their reserve team out. They're not thumping us as badly as they thumped us last year so far, and we've gone into half-time 0-0. Now remember, in the pitiful financial situation we're in, and we did talk about this a lot last year, the absolute perfect ideal scenario for us today is that we get a draw and get a replay back at Old Trafford, where we then get our 45% share of the gate, or 50, somewhere between 40 and 50% share of the gate, because it's an FA Cup game. Now, an 70 or 80,000 capacity stadium, where we get half of that gate receipts, you must be looking at over £1 million in one go if we can get back to a replay at Old Trafford. But it is obviously a big if, because we've got to make it through another half without conceding a goal, or at least scoring as many goals as we concede. And United have got a man over on that right hand side, and we're 1-0 down. We were doing all right until I realised and mentioned that we can sort out our financial problems by not conceding a goal. At that moment, we decided, let's concede a goal. You can see Man United have got all their fans at the other end. The rest of the ground is blue and white, the way it's supposed to be. Still no further news on the stadium, by the way. The board are still investigating possible locations, so we're still years away from getting a new ground. Because if you remember from the last time, they were investigating a potential location for probably 6 months. They found one. It then took a year to get the planning permission denied. So the fact we've not even identified a potential location yet suggests we're at least 2 years away probably from getting planning permission or potentially being declined again. So for the time being, we're still stuck with our tiny little ground, which is absolutely maxed out today at 6,500 people, and we're 2-0 down, and this makes me very sad. So I'm now assuming that they'll put their first team out. You know, I could check, but I ain't gonna, because I don't want to make myself feel bad. I'm already a little bit worried about how much we laboured to get past Chippenham. I don't want to find out this is Man United under 17s that are absolutely thumping us. Right, we've got a chance to get a goal back here. It's with Hayes through to Ball and Barron, and he can't find Stainsby. How different would things be with free scoring Ali Afsharian in the team? And there's number 3. Remember, it was 4-1 last season. We said at half time they're not doing as much as they did last year. Well, right now they're closing in on a better result than this time last year, even though we're a better team than we were last year, pushing for those promotion spots in the Championship. This could be the kind of opposition we face week in, week out next season if we carry on playing well in the league. And goodness me, based on how we're playing today, that would be a total disaster. We would just get thumped every single week. Right, James Ball's not playing well at all. We're going to bring Wheatley on for him, and we're going to go to our front 3 that we have done occasionally. When things have been getting a little difficult, we go to a front 3, and Afsharian's just looking at that and thinking, you serious? I'm still not a part of that? Of course you're a part of that, Ali. Let's get you on there. And I'm going to bring another guy on who I want you to meet. I don't think you've met him yet. Daniel Higgins, who's one of these youngsters that we brought in quite a long time ago. He's been at the club 2 years. He's had loan spells at Woking, Kettering, Crawley and Barnet. He's been playing well in League One this season. We've just recalled him and given him a new 2-year contract extension, but he's apparently almost as good as Alex Barber as a defensive midfielder. He's as good as Sam Allen and Peter Anderson and Morris King and Jack Lenton and Alex Barber as a central midfielder, and I didn't really notice that he existed. So we've brought him back in, given him a new contract, and now we're going to give him some game time against Manchester United as well, because we're all about developing this young lad who is he's a bit of a Carrilero. You know, we had a good Carrilero once. He got knighted. So I'm hoping that this kid who's coming through now ends up being just as good. And at age 19 as well, maybe, just maybe, we can have one more player after Josh Sawyer who has the opportunity to go through and break the all-time record appearances. Obviously, he's got an awfully long way to go and pretty much has to play week in, week out between now and his 35th birthday to be able to do it. But he might be that good. Who knows? Right, Anderson's foul with 15 minutes to go. Have we got the opportunity to... Was that a low blow from Nakamura there? Interesting. Interesting indeed. We've got 15 minutes against 10 men of Manchester United to try and grab a goal back. We want a goal. We don't care about equalising. I mean, it'd be lovely if we could get 3, but just one goal, because 3-1's better than 4-1. But I would say 3-0 is worse than 4-1. I know we've conceded 1 fewer goals, but we haven't scored against Man United this year. Moral of the tale, they're still 3 goals better than us. Now we have to go away to Norwich and try and get some form back. So a couple of changes up front for the Norwich game then. We bring Hull and Afsharian into the team, with Stainsby and Ruggles both dropping down onto the bench. It was a bit of a coin flip between Wheatley and Sean Hull. We've gone purely on average rating, but I mean, we've got a lot of good strikers, but the form guy is Afsharian, and hopefully missing out on the Man United game hasn't cost his form too much. It might actually end up doing him a little bit of good, because he didn't then have to have a full game of struggling like all the rest of our strikers did, so he can go into this game against Norwich still in the kind of free scoring form that he was in before the Man United game. See, I've managed to apply some logic to it after the event. If he comes and scores a hat-trick now and forces us back into the automatic promotion spots, then Kev is a genius. Of course, I could have just ruined all of his momentum by taking him out of the team for the biggest game of his career and upsetting him. But I don't know if the AI quite works at that kind of level. Would he have been excited about playing Man United? Will he be annoyed that he didn't get to? Or is it actually going to do his morale good for having not really been a part of such a heavy defeat? It's a complicated one because the team talk at the end as well, Mr. Assistant Manager man, ruined it completely. The team talk was a disaster. Look at Lee Hugo. What a goalkeeper. Oh, I tell you what, it's lovely having a decent goalkeeper. And I know I talked him up yesterday and he ended up not playing great. But he is by so very far the best goalkeeper that we've had in this series so far, and I'm not constantly afraid that he's about to do something stupid. He'll occasionally not save something you'd expect him to save, but I'm blaming that on the match engine. But by and large, Lee Hugo makes a lot more saves than he does mistakes, and that's a situation we've never really been in before. I think it helps as well to have such a solid back four in front of him, which, bizarrely, Josh Sawyer still a part of. He's been a regular part of our back four all the way through from the conference, all the way up to the top of the championship. He's been part of some terrible defences, but he's now part of a half-decent one as well. Let's see, there's an example of one of those that maybe you'd look at that and think Hugo could have saved it. It doesn't look like he's dived very far. But I'm just putting that down to a moment of brilliance from Norwich, and there's not a lot we could have done about it. I'm going to say he's unsighted by all of the Norwich players in front of him and doesn't have the option to get there and make that save. Why? In an episode where we've now conceded 4 and not conceded a goal and not scored a goal, did I decide that was the time to talk about how great our defence and goalkeeper are now? It's like I don't understand how Football Manager works after all these years. If I'm positive about an aspect of our team, that aspect won't then perform in the videos. I know how that works. You know how that works. Apparently, I just don't learn though. How has Hayden Sheridan got 8 yellow cards this season? He's played about 4 games. It's ridiculous. Where's O'Brien? He's sat there on the bench as well. Captain red card. What is it with left backs and just not being able to make clean tackles? It's ridiculous. I think we need to get a centre back at left back like we have on the right hand side. Because since King's been out there, yeah, he's not as much of a threat going forward as Ibrahim used to be, but he's much more solid defensively. Whereas on this side, Sheridan's still doing slide tackles when he's on a yellow card. What an idiot. We might have to bring O'Brien on sooner rather than later. In fact, Sheridan's having a poor game as well. I know we're only 55 minutes in, but he's on a yellow card on a 5.8 and lunging into slide tackles. So rather than having yet another red card to a fullback, let's bring O'Brien on now and hope that teaches Sheridan a lesson to not be a moron. None of the rest of the team are playing particularly well either. The new look strike partnership, not great. Midfield's looking just a bit of a mess. We've not created a decent chance yet. We're not playing very well today. I hope this is just a one-match Man United hangover and we're going to come back to some decent form soon because we were playing so well, and the Huddersfield defeat didn't do us any harm because we knew they were a better team than us. Man United are a much better team than us, so hopefully that defeat shouldn't do our morale any harm either. Right, what else can we do substitution-wise to try? Oh, Anderson's also having a terrible game. Let's get Barber on for him. And Afsharian, not having a great game either. So let's get Ollie Stainsby on for him, who's been after more first-team football. He's got 20 minutes now to justify me starting him in the next game. If he grabs a goal here, there you go, Ollie. Grab a goal here, you start the next game, and then you get what you want. We're not even going to get a highlight, are we? What's happening? Oh, here we go. A highlight. It's not with us, but we've got the chance to win the ball back. Of course, we don't. Grrr. Come on, we can't have a whole episode where we don't score a single goal. Has that ever happened before? Barber, ball forward towards Hull, who doesn't get there. Taggart nods clear to O'Brien. And now it's with James Ball, who actually keeps hold of it and finds Hull. And Stainsby is moving around in front of him, but doesn't quite get there. And now Norwich on the counter-attack. And both of our centre-backs are so slow. It was like they were running through treacle. The guy with the ball managed to accelerate away from both of them. And then we get the message again. Lee Hugo will be disappointed to be beaten at his near post because I spoke positively of him. I mean, that's Taggart and Sawyer both unable to keep up with a guy who's trying to dribble a football, and then Hugo beaten in a way that he probably shouldn't have been beaten. This is completely self-inflicted. I was positive about my defence and my goalkeeper, so they've now showed me that that's just not acceptable. I have to criticise them constantly, or else they're going to do this for me. Well, there you go. All 5 of you are morons. 6, because we're not letting Hayden Sheridan escape from this either. He's the king of the morons. You're all idiots. And now Ollie Stainsby's confused. I mean, if he's been listening to the last 3 minutes, I can probably understand why. Well, Now we need a recovery job. I mean, we still need 2 points outside of automatic promotion, but that was a poor performance against a mid-table team. And now we play against a playoff rival next, and it could all start to go wrong. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.